Welcome to Mind Research Rewired. We unveil scientific truths to transform confusion into clear thinking. Unlock a sharper, more effective you based on proven research. Subscribe now and elevate your life.
Welcome back to the channel. And if you are an ambitious startup founder tuning in right now, I need you to lock in.
Yeah, absolutely lock in for this one.
Because today's deep dive, it's not like we're not just giving you a standard business lesson. We are going for a total psychological rewiring.
I love that. A total rewiring.
Right? Because usually when you read about building a massive disruptive company, the entire process is framed kind of like architecture. You want to build a skyscraper, you don't just start digging a hole in the dirt.
Right, you need a plan.
Exactly. You draw up this flawless blueprint, you calculate the load-bearing walls down to the millimeter, and you go secure exactly $50 million in funding based on these perfect projected returns.
And then you just execute that plan flawlessly.
It's the dream. The underlying assumption there is that if your math is right, success is it's inevitable. The mission today is to completely shatter that illusion.
And it really is an illusion. I mean, classical economics loves predictability. It operates on this assumption that the world is an environment of inevitability. Like, if you just gather enough data and run the right predictive models, you can map out the future.
Which sounds great on paper.
It sounds incredibly comforting, especially when there's millions of dollars of venture capital on the line. But real disruptive entrepreneurship, what the actual top-tier founders are doing, it's actually about contingency. It's about radically embracing the unknown.
So why do so many brilliant founders completely fail while trying to perfectly execute their business plans, while others just seem to build these billion-dollar empires almost by accident?
That is the core question, and the answer is in this incredible piece of source material we have today. It's a foundational research paper by Saraswati called Causation and Effectuation.
Yes, causation versus effectuation.
Exactly. It explains this massive shift in mindset, moving away from the causation model that business schools teach and adopting the effectuation mindset that actual builders use in the real world.
Okay, before we get super deep into the heavy academic theory of this, I need a grounding mechanism. Because if I'm a founder listening to this, I need to know what this actually looks like in my daily life. Give me a simple, real-world metaphor.
Okay, Saraswati actually uses this brilliant, super accessible metaphor in the text. It's about cooking a meal.
Cooking. Okay, I'm with you.
Let's look at causation first. So the traditional model. Imagine a chef is hired to cook for an event, and the client gives them a highly specific menu.
Like, we need beef Wellington and a chocolate souffle.
Exactly. So the chef writes down the exact ingredients needed, goes to the grocery store, buys those specific items, and comes back to cook the predetermined meal. You focus on selecting the specific means, the ingredients, to achieve a predetermined effect.
That makes sense. Like, if I want to build a social media app for dog owners, my blueprint says I need to go hire 3 iOS developers and buy X amount of server space.
Right. That's causation. Now, compare that to effectuation, which is the actual reality for most founders. The client brings the chef into a completely random kitchen, opens up the cupboards, and just says, look through whatever random items we happen to have right now and create the best possible meal out of this.
Oh, wow. So you don't even know what you're cooking when you start.
Exactly. You aren't picking ingredients to fit a menu. You are designing the menu entirely based on the ingredients you already possess. You are selecting between possible effects using a given set of means.
Okay, hold on. I got to push back on this. Because I love the energy of it. But if I'm a founder, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to balance, let's say, highly creative apparel design with some insanely complex technical functionality, like weaving biometric tech into a jacket.
Yeah.
I can't just throw random fabric scraps and microchips together like I'm playing some wild episode of Chopped.
Right.
I mean, I need a blueprint for that.
Yeah.
If I don't have a master plan, isn't effectuation just kind of an excuse for being sloppy and reactive?
That is actually the most common criticism of effectuation, but it totally misunderstands the concept. Effectuation is not about being sloppy. It's about intellectual honesty.
Intellectual honesty, what do you mean?
I mean, acknowledging that in the early days of a startup, you don't actually know what the final product is going to be because the market demand for a totally new innovation doesn't exist yet. Any blueprint you draw is literally just a hallucination.
Oh, man, that hits hard. A hallucination.
It is. So instead of guessing and pretending you know the future, you start with a rigorous inventory of your immediate means. And Saraswati breaks this down into 3 very clear categories.
Okay, what are the 3 categories? If I'm opening the cupboards, what am I looking at?
Number 1, who you are, your traits, your tastes, your raw abilities. Number 2, what you know, your education, your past experience, your unique knowledge corridors.
Knowledge corridors.
Yeah.
Like those hyper-specific industry insights you only get from just being in the trenches of an industry for 10 years.
Precisely. And then number 3, whom you know, your immediate social and professional networks. Great founders don't sit around trying to predict a future market. They build a new future out of those 3 exact ingredients.
Okay, so that actually really grounds it. But how does this look when someone actually tries to launch a company? Like, take me from the chef analogy to a real business.
All right, let's unpack Saraswati's first thought experiment from the paper. Imagine an entrepreneur wants to start an Indian restaurant. They call it curry in a hurry.
Curry in a hurry. Love it.
So let's say they want to open this in Pittsburgh. If you go the traditional causation route, the MBA route, you're running a standard STP process. Segmentation, targeting, positioning.
Right, you're doing demographic research, you're sending out surveys, you're looking for market gaps.
Exactly. And let's assume the data comes back and says the vast majority of Pittsburgh currently abhors Indian food.
Yikes. So the total addressable market on paper is basically 0.
Right. But the causation-minded founder looks at that data and says, well, my blueprint says I need a restaurant. So they painstakingly raise, $20,000 to just force their way into a tiny, wealthy neighborhood segment that might possibly eat there.
Just fighting upstream the whole way.
Completely. Massive effort, massive capital, all based on the hope that their predictive demographic model was right.
But the effectuation route, the founder doing effectuation, they wouldn't do any of that, right?
Yeah.
They bypass all the theoretical research.
What do you think they do instead?
Well, based on the cupboard analogy, they just cook. They cook some food for their friends. They bring some curry to work. They just use their immediate network to test it in physical reality.
Yes. And here is the ultimate plot twist from the paper. By actually listening to those initial real-world interactions, the founder might abandon the restaurant idea entirely.
Wait, really? After all that?
Yeah. They might discover their coworkers actually hate the curry, but they are absolutely captivated by the founder's quirky personality or their stories about Indian culture.
Oh, wow. So the food wasn't even the product. The founder was the product.
Exactly. And because the effectuating founder isn't locked into this rigid, I must open a restaurant blueprint, they can pivot. They might end up starting a motivational consulting business or maybe a cultural exploration travel agency.
That is insane. They started with curry in a hurry and ended up with a motivational empire. And it's just because they took one real step, used their given means, and let the real-world reaction dictate step 2.
It completely changes the game.
I see this exact dynamic with founders who are just agonizing over securing grant funding for an unproven startup. They'll spend, I kid you not, 6 months writing a 50-page theoretical thesis to predict their exact market share for technology they haven't even built yet.
It's an enormous drain of energy.
It is. The effectual approach says stop predicting. Take what you know right now, build a tiny weird prototype, hand it to your immediate network, and watch what actually happens.
And, to reinforce that, the text gives an incredible real-world example of this. Tom Fatjo.
Who's that?
He founded Browning Ferris Industries, BFI, which became a massive waste management company. But he didn't start by writing a 50-page thesis on the macroeconomics of national garbage collection.
What did he do?
He was literally sitting at a community association meeting, listening to his neighbors whining about the trash collection in their specific subdivision. He just used his given means and said, hey, maybe we should just haul it ourselves.
Oh my God. He just started picking up the trash.
He literally bought a truck and started hauling the garbage himself while keeping his day job. He discovered the potential for a massive scale through physical action, not boardroom prediction.
Okay, that is an awesome story for a localized service-based business. But, and I'm putting my devil's advocate hat back on here.
I'm ready.
If we're talking about massive nationwide scale, I think a lot of founders are still going to be skeptical. They're going to say, sure, effectuation work for hauling your neighborhood's trash or making curry for your office. But you cannot use this mindset to build a nationwide infrastructure that requires millions in capital.
And that is exactly why Saraswati brings out the heavy hitter in the research.
Right.
The creation of U-Haul.
U-Haul, like the moving trucks.
Yes. Founded by L.S. Shun in 1945, it is the absolute ultimate proof that effectuation scales. So Shun saw this massive post-war need for one-way moving trailers.
Because everyone was highly mobile after the war, moving across the country.
Exactly. But here's the problem, the impossible math, as you would call it. He only had about $5,000.
Okay, if I apply traditional causation logic to that, he is dead in the water.
Completely dead.
Because to build a national presence in 1945, you need to buy land for depots in every major city. You need fleets of trucks. Traditional business logic says you just give up right there.
Right. Economic theory would calculate that building that out would cost something like $20 to $50 million in today's money.
So how did he do it? Did he take on some massive high-interest debt to force it?
Not at all. He used an effectual hack. He bypassed the need for capital entirely. He didn't buy lots for depots. He partnered with existing gas stations. He basically said, hey, let me put these trailers on your lot and I'll give you a cut of the revenue. Strategic alliances.
Oh, that's brilliant. But what about the trucks themselves?
He didn't buy fleets. He convinced his friends, his family, and even early customers to personally buy the trucks and trailers, and then U-Haul leased them back.
Wait. He essentially crowdsourced the capital expenditure and the real estate in 1945.
Yes. He built a nationwide empire with almost 0 employees and a ridiculously small outlay of his own funds.
Yet that's mind-blowing.
It proves something so critical for modern founders, the latent market, like the obvious need for one-way rentals. That's only a necessary condition. It's not enough on its own.
Right, because actualization of the business requires actively imagining and implementing solutions that literally carve out the shape of the market. He didn't predict the market. He co-created it with the gas stations and his friends.
Exactly. And to help founders actually replicate this genius, Sarasvathy distills these concepts into 4 highly actionable principles.
Okay, let's volley these back and forth because these are game-changing. Principle number 1. Let's contrast it against causation.
Number 1, affordable loss versus expected returns. Causation is obsessed with maximizing potential profit, right? You run the math and aim for the highest expected return.
But effectuation completely ignores the theoretical upside because the founder acknowledges that the upside is completely unknown. So instead, they predetermine exactly how much loss they can afford.
Exactly. Financially, socially, emotionally, what can I afford to lose today? And then they experiment as aggressively as possible within those strict limits.
Keeps you in the game. Okay, principle 2. Strategic alliances versus competitive analysis.
Traditional causation says obsess over your competitors, analyze them, find their weaknesses, build competitive moats.
But effectuating founders barely look at competitors. They spend all that energy securing pre-commitments from stakeholders and partners, like U-Haul with the gas stations. It reduces uncertainty immediately.
Spot on. Principle 3, exploitation of contingencies versus pre-existing knowledge. Causation tells you to stick to the blueprint. If something unexpected happens, it's a failure of planning.
But effectuation says those unexpected surprises are your greatest assets. The pivot isn't a distraction, it becomes the whole business model. Like the curry in a hurry turning into a consulting gig.
Exactly. And that leads to the 4th principle. And I think this is the ultimate mic drop moment from the entire text.
Oh, totally. Hit him with it.
Controlling an unpredictable future versus predicting an uncertain one. Causation assumes that to the extent we can predict the future, we can control it.
But effectuation flips it entirely. The principle is, to the extent that we can control the future, we do not need to predict it.
That is the whole ballgame right there.
I mean, that is just swagger. That is reality-bending founder swagger. To really lock this in, we have to talk about the master metaphor from the text, the urn.
Ah, yes. The statistical metaphor of the urn. This is how Sarasvathy separates risk from uncertainty.
I am obsessed with this metaphor.
So risk, which is the causation mindset, is like drawing balls from an urn where you know exactly what's inside. Say there are 5 red balls and 5 green balls.
Right, so you can calculate the exact mathematical probability. It's a predictable game.
But uncertainty is drawing from an urn where you have absolutely no idea what the distribution is. There could be 9 red balls or just 1. You don't know.
Most people think founders just bravely step up to that urn of massive uncertainty, take a blind leap of faith, and pray they draw a red ball.
But the master effectuator, they don't do that at all.
Tell them what they do.
The effectual founder looks at the urn and says, I do not care what color the balls are in there. I will go acquire my own red balls. I will physically put them in the urn. I will invite other people who have red balls to partner with me, and together we are going to make a completely new game where red balls win.
Oh, they hack the game. They don't play by the market's rules. They literally manifest the environment they need through sheer action and partnership. That is just, I love it so much.
It changes everything.
All right, we are pivoting right now. We are moving from high-level philosophy to immediate, aggressive execution. This is the Do It Today segment.
Let's get tactical.
If you are listening to this, I want you to execute these 3 directives the literal second this video ends. Directive 1. Calculate your affordable loss. Stop forecasting your year $3 billion revenue. Write down exactly what you can afford to lose in time, money, and reputation this week, and run an experiment that costs exactly that.
Directive 2. Inventory your given means. Grab a whiteboard. Write down who are you, what do you know, whom do you know. And then build your next product feature or marketing push using only what is already on that board.
Only what is on the board. Directive 3. Pitch an alliance. Stop analyzing competitors. Instead of spending 3 hours reading your competitors' marketing materials today, spend those 3 hours securing one micro-commitment from a potential partner to help you co-create your market.
That is incredibly actionable. And, just to leave you with one final mind-bending insight from the paper.
Let's hear it.
Successful economies actually need effectuation because it allows the economy to experiment with massively more ideas at much lower costs. Success isn't just the logical equivalent of not failing.
Right.
The true mark of an effectuating founder isn't avoiding failure. It's mastering the management of cheap, rapid failures to spawn the next great idea.
Managing cheap failures. That is powerful. All right, guys, I need you to get into the comments right now. I have 2 questions for your self-reflection. Number 1, what is one kitchen cupboard resource, a unique trait, a weird skill, a random connection that you've been totally ignoring because it doesn't perfectly fit your master business plan?
I can't wait to read those.
And number 2, are you currently trying to predict your market, which is causation, or are you actively co-creating it with partners through effectuation? Let us know down below.
Such good questions.
Listen, you have the power to literally control your future. Stop predicting, start building. If this rewired your brain today, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing you the exact mental frameworks you need to build your empire. Get out there, open the cupboards, and we will see you on the next deep dive.